Hello everybody! Can you believe that we are only a couple of weeks away from Halloween Horror Nights 31 here in 2022, Universal Studios Orlando. I could not be more excited for it. There are still so many things that need to be created, need to be built. I feel like Universal Studios is behind the 8 ball, quite frankly. There are still more houses to be announced. But in this video, we are going to cover all of the haunted houses, all of the confirmed and the speculated haunted houses, as well as the scare zones and the shows. And because things are literally changing on a day-to-day basis, we thought there's no better way to do this than to actually go into the park and walk from spot to spot, from site to site, and show you everything that you're going to see in Halloween Horror Nights. Plus, we've created a brand new Halloween Horror Nights 31 map that's going to show you everything and where the locations are so you know what to expect. And we're going to use that as a guidepost for this video, so when we're going from location to location, not only will you know what the haunted house or the scare zone is supposed to be, but also where it's at, and we're going to get construction updates so you can see how far along is the construction and what to expect. So this is going to be an action-packed video. I am so pumped. Can't wait for Halloween Horror Nights 31. Let's get started. All right, let's talk a little bit about Halloween Horror Nights 31. It is going to be running from September 2nd through October 31st this year. It's a little bit earlier than it has been in past years, and that just seems to be the case everywhere. Everybody's starting Halloween a little bit earlier. This year, there are going to be 10 different haunted houses. There are going to be 5 different unique scare zones, and there are going to be 2 different shows to choose from. Plus, you've got the 6 attractions that are going to be running during Halloween Horror Nights. So if you just really want to ride one of the attractions, like Rip, Ride, and Rocket, you're going to be able to do that as well. And believe it or not, even though we are only a couple of weeks out from Halloween Horror Nights, they've only announced 4. They only formally have announced 4 of the 10 haunted houses, which means we have 6 more that we don't know for sure what they are. But we have a pretty good idea of what those other 6 haunted houses are going to be, thanks to a leaked image of a t-shirt. A lot of this information is coming from a t-shirt, a supposed leaked t-shirt that has the names of a bunch of different haunted houses on it. So there's a lot of speculation happening there. Speculation based on prior years and the things that we're starting to see show up in the park. So let's head on inside because I want to talk about our first haunted houses and our first scare zones. Here we are right at the entrance of Universal Studios. Right behind me, that's sort of the main street that takes you down towards Jimmy Fallon, towards the Mummy, etc. And right behind me there, what you can see, that's largely considered to be the traditional Halloween scare zone, which we will get to later. For now, I want to actually go down this road, this sort of Hollywood road here, over to the side, because this is going to take us down to our first scare zone that I want to talk about. Now, this is the first scare zone that you will come to when you take a right off of that main drag. And this is going to be the first scare zone you encounter if you're on your way to the brand new Weekend, the Weekend haunted house, and the classic Monsters Legends Collide haunted house will be this direction. So when you first walk in and you hang a right, you will come across this scare zone, which is called Deadly Unrest, and it's called Nettlewood Cemetery as the physical location. And this is largely to be considered a vampire zone. So this is going to be vampires of some kind, pretty scary area. And it's actually a large scare zone. It's actually very big. It goes on for quite a while here. And you can see they've already started putting a lot of the decorations out, putting a lot of the structures out. A lot of the plants that you can see here, a lot of the leaves, those weren't here just a couple of days ago. So they are once again, they're throwing things up really quickly, and it's just going to keep getting better from here. One thing I will note is we will continue to do construction updates on Halloween Horror Nights in the coming weeks. And just go to a quick view of some of the structures. Again, this has really been built up more since the last time I was here a couple of days ago. They've got things hanging here in the doorway now, more plants, more flora, more fauna. They've got some gargoyles over there. So there's a lot of stuff happening. This is going to be a pretty cool scare zone. It's going to be pretty large. Now, continuing our way along Hollywood Boulevard here, you can actually see another scare zone. So you will actually go through 2 scare zones when you head to the right. If you go along Hollywood Boulevard to the right, once you go in, you'll go through 2 scare zones before you even get to the first haunted house. And this particular scare zone is the Scarecrow scare zone. You can see they've already got scaffolding and things like that up with some lanterns up in the trees. It's kind of hard to see them up there. They've got lighting effects. This is kind of a cool little area that's going to be blocked off usually, that you have to kind of go through this center area. And you can see they're going to have maybe people up on top of here, scarecrows. I mean, it is really just what it sounds like. It's scarecrows. There's not much more to say about it. It's not a very large scare zone. It's a lot smaller than the one that we just walked through, the Deadly Unrest. This is kind of like that was the start and finish of it, just this one little section. But it's probably going to have some really cool lighting effects, a lot of more special effects in this small little area than maybe what you're going to see in Deadly Unrest. So we'll see. We'll have to find out.
Here we are at our first haunted house, and it's over here by E.T. Adventures. It is Universal Monsters Legends Collide.
And it is, again, right here at E.T. This is actually where the Beetlejuice haunted house was last year. It's supposed to be the same building. It's going to be the same queue. The queue kind of starts over in the E.T. Line. It goes back there and it comes back around, then goes over by Fievel's Playland there, and then you go back into where Beetlejuice was. And the Universal Monsters Legends Collide sounds really cool. Think the classic Universal Monsters. Think Dracula. Think the Mummy. And Wolfman. Those are going to probably be the characters, the things that you're going to see in this actual haunted house. Sounds really cool to me. They've been doing a lot of stuff with the Universal Monsters, the classic Monsters, Dark Universe stuff. They did the classic Monsters tribute store over there. And so they've been doing a lot of stuff, and it's really exciting. And I know they're going to be building, obviously, for Epic Universe. Check out our video below if you haven't seen the Epic Universe updates and what's going to be coming to Epic Universe. But Epic Universe is going to have the classic Monsters land as well. So I'm really excited about this haunted house. I think it's going to be really cool.
The next haunted house on our list is right behind us. It's the Weekend After Hours Nightmare.
And this is back there at the Curious George. You can kind of see it behind me a little bit there, all the way back in the back by Curious George. You walk back there, there will be a long line back there. And this is actually where the Haunting of Hill House haunted house was last year, which is a really cool haunted house. Haunting of Hill House. I'm a big fan of the series. And I think the Weekend After Hours Nightmare, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if anybody asked for a haunted house themed after The Weeknd, but I mean, he's a popular dude. Now, I do know that it's going to be themed after his After Hours album that he released that has a lot of like dark videos and things like that in that actual album. So it's going to be themed after that. So pretty exciting. Again, all the way back there by Curious George. I don't know, we'll see. But these are two big powerhouse sort of licensed properties right back here by E.T. and Curious George. And so I feel like this is going to be the way to go when you first come into Universal Studios, hanging that immediate right, going through those two scare zones, and then heading to these two big heavy hitters. Last year, Beetlejuice and Haunting of Hill House were some of the most popular. There's one more on the list, though, that we'll talk about that I think will also be super popular that you're going to want to hit right in the beginning. Right over here on the way to the actual E.T. area and Curious George, over by those two haunted houses, you can see some of the food booths are actually popping up, food and drink booths. You see 1 and 2 here, then there's a third one over here, which actually has some theming on it with like the Scarecrow, because this is right at the exit of the Scarecrow scare zone, which you can see again, the scare zone is right over there. And these are just now popping up. These have just shown up within the last day or two. They were not here before this. So they're starting to build up. I was starting to get kind of worried. I mean, I knew they'd pull it off, but I was getting a little bit worried because we're getting up to the wire here and just not seeing a lot of stuff. But I feel like over the last 2 days, they've really amped it up. Since we are walking by it on the way to our next spot, did want to call out that there will in fact be a show here in the lagoon, nightly water show with lights, lasers, etc. here in the lagoon called the Marathon of Mayhem. And that will be in this central lagoon here, be able to be viewed from pretty much anywhere around. So they will be having that as a nightly event. And that is one of the 2 shows that will actually be here during Halloween Horror Nights. We will talk about the next one in just a second when we get over there. Again, heading over here now into Simpsons Land, headed to the next 2 haunted houses that are right up here. Another food booth has shown up that literally just popped up. You can see all the blood and stuff on the exterior. Now we've got 2 haunted houses up here, up by Men in Black, right past the Simpsons Land. Looks like they do have another food and drink booth here popped up. So we got another one here. But there are actually 2 other haunted houses that are literally right over here. You can see the entrance to one of them is right here, and then the entrance to the next one is right here. So there are 2 side by side right here back in this corner.
The 2 haunted houses right here are Descendants of Destruction and Bugs Eaten Alive.
Bugs Eaten Alive.
I feel like I'm getting eaten alive by bugs tonight, actually.
Yeah. So these are going to be 2 interesting haunted houses. These are original haunted houses. They're not based on any IP So their original content. Descendants of Destruction is allegedly going to be a sequel to the Seeds of Extinction haunted house that they had here back in 2018. So it could be kind of interesting. Seeds of Destruction, I don't know. Sounds very plant-like. We'll see.
Yeah.
Descendants of Destruction, Seeds of Extinction, I don't know. The other one, Bugs Eaten Alive. Pretty much what it sounds like. Bugs eating stuff, I'm assuming. Lots of roaches, centipedes, gross things. It's probably going to be the grossest one, I think. It's going to be the one that I'm going to think is the grossest, so we'll find out. The two haunted houses that were previously in this space, if you remember from last year, there was the Wicked Growth pumpkins. That was kind of a cool, like lots of like Halloween pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns. And then the other one was the Puppet Theater. So the Puppet Theater haunted house. So basically these two are replacing those two, and we'll have to wait and see. Now we're crossing over here past Men in Black, and it's interesting. Here last year, or right over here on the right by Men in Black, was a haunted house called Welcome to Scary, Ohio. And so it was kind of a cool, because we're from Ohio originally, so it was kind of a cool like 70s, 80s feel to it, almost like a Fallout type, experience. It was pretty cool. And it was back there kind of behind Men in Black. Right now, there's nothing slated to be back there. So either they're going to surprise us and there will be something back there, or they're just not going to be using that space this year. So right now, don't have anything on the map for where Welcome to Scary was, but who knows? Maybe we'll get surprised.
Okay, so we're standing in front of the old Fear Factor Live building, and it's rumored that what's going to be here this year is the same show that was here last year, called Nightmare Fuel.
Nightmare Fuel supposedly is going to make a return. Now, there's been a lot of things with this building. This building was supposed to have been torn down. They were supposed to be tearing this down, making way for more Harry Potter universe stuff, Wizarding World of Harry Potter things. And then COVID, all sorts of things happened. Things got put on hold. Things have changed. Plans have changed. Again, constantly changing here. And the Fear Factor Live building still ended up being here. And so I don't think they were planning on bringing this show back this year, at least not at this location. But apparently, the speculation is it's going to make a return, and it was a hugely popular show last year. Nightmare Fuel was an awesome, awesome show. There was all sort of pyrotechnics and special effects. It was a great stage show. So this is the second show that will actually be here at Halloween Horror Nights this year. It's only the second show. So we've got the one in the lagoon, and we've got the second show here, and that should be about it. But if for some reason something else gets announced, we will let you know. But I'm kind of anxious to see it. It's a huge show building. It's a huge stage, huge set. And it is going to be awesome. And I'll be honest, the thought of going away from the haunted houses and the scare zones to watch a show kind of feels like you're wasting your time and money, but I promise you, you're not. It is an awesome show that you're going to want to catch this year. But again, just speculation and rumor, but we're pretty sure it's going to be a repeat of last year's show, or maybe some improvements and changes made, but Nightmare Fuel. I'm seeing right here on the central area that bridges between Simpsons Land and the Wizarding World here. You're seeing the giant pumpkin building there. That building's always there, it just sort of changes themes over the different festivals, Mardi Gras, etc. So it's a giant pumpkin this year for Halloween Horror Nights. Now there is nothing Halloween Horror Nights within Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which I guess makes sense to a certain extent because Wizarding World of Harry Potter is like a self-contained area. But I still really feel like they should have some cool things there because they did celebrate sort of, ghouls and ghosts and goblins and spooks and all that kind of stuff in the Harry Potter movies. I don't know if I can't remember if it was actually Halloween specifically, but I do feel like there's room for some haunted, Halloween type things or shows within the Wizarding World. So I feel like that's a miss. I'd really like to see them bring that in maybe a future Halloween Horror Nights because I think it'll be really cool. We made it to the next scare zone as we're making our way past the Wizarding World and we're headed towards Transformers and Revenge of the Mummy. This space right here, this sort of central square outside of the exit of Fast and the Furious is going to be sort of the Coven Witches scare zone. Which is interesting. They actually have a haunted house that may also be themed the same way that's nearby. But check this out. You can see the progress of this scare zone. It looks pretty cool. It almost looks like it's going to be kind of like a stage showy. Like there's going to be almost like probably maybe some witches or things up here toiling with a cauldron and like effects and things coming out. But it looks kind of neat. I kind of dig it. And then this scare zone goes all the way down there past those sort of lights that you can see there. So it's not a huge scare zone. In the past, they've actually had like a big sort of raised platform sort of here in the middle where there would be other things happening. It's gone now. It was actually been here. Had been there for a long time, but now it's gone. So I don't know what they're going to do with this space, but at least right here they have a cool sort of stage thing that's going to be happening.
We are at the entrance to the Fast and Furious ride, and right behind us is where the Horrors of Blumhouse Haunted House will be.
This is a brand new haunted house for this year, brand new IP, Horrors of Blumhouse. There was actually nothing here last year, so this is a brand new location. It's not replacing any haunted house. It's at a completely new location where there wasn't anything last year. This particular haunted house looks really interesting because we're not 100% sure how it's going to work, but it looks like there's going to be 2 parts to it. Based on 2 different properties within the Horrors of Blumhouse. The first one is the Ethan Hawke film called The Black Phone, which is actually out now. It's a horror movie that's out now. You can watch it on Amazon, etc. And he plays this character called The Grabber. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I've been wanting to see it because I keep seeing it pop up. And it looks kind of interesting, so you're going to have to outwit the Grabber in this part of the haunted house. But then there's a second part to the haunted house, and I don't know if it's all woven together and like these 2 main characters will just be running through the whole haunted house, or if it'll be 2 distinct sections. But the second one is around the property called Freaky, a brand new movie coming out with Vince Vaughn. And it's a horror comedy. Vince Vaughn plays this character called the Butcher. He's taken the place basically of a high school cheerleader, switched bodies or something, so could be pretty cool. I think it's a brand new property, something that we've not seen before. I think this one might fill up pretty quickly, so back here by Fast and the Furious, yay, Fast and the Furious, but excited to see more about it. We're over here across from the Mummy, sort of, over to the side a little bit, and they have this new decorations that have been put up right here. This kind of looks like a butchery of some kind. There is a scared zone a little bit further down, but this doesn't really feel to me like it fits in with that scare zone. So I'm not sure what this is going to be. Maybe this is just sort of decoration, but it looks like a butcher shop, like everything back here. It does look like this is going to be operational and functional. So I'm guessing that this is going to be just some sort of food area, like a place to get some food, maybe? I can't really tell. I mean, I see a Chef Master heat lamp there, which means I'm guessing they're actually going to be having real food here. Maybe this is going to be a VIP section for VIP only. I don't know, but it's kind of cool back here. It kind of feels like a haunted space that's going to be haunted. But it does look like they'll have some menu items, some snacks, some food up here. And right here as part of that, you can see like a little like drink stand where maybe they're going to be handing out drinks. Again, I just wonder if this is going to be just a kind of a quick walkthrough area where you can grab a drink, a snack, something to eat, or if it's going to be some sort of special VIP section. I don't know. We'll find out. We made it to the next scare section, the scare zone here, and this is supposed to be the Candi Mutants scare zone out here in front of the Mummy, and I'll show a little bit more of it in just a second. We'll go down there and look at some of the bigger pieces, the bigger set pieces that are happening. But there is this walled off section right here, and there is another walled off section over there that could have potentially been part of Halloween Horror Nights or the scare zones, but I actually can see through the cracks in these walls, and it does look like they're like doing concrete work on the other side. So I don't think this is going to be part of any sort of like set or anything. It might be, we'll keep you posted, but it looks like they're just kind of refurbishing the concrete under there. Maybe building some staging or something, I don't know, but there's literally concrete missing. I can see the rebar and stuff and the concrete being poured, so don't really know what it's going to be, but they're not really building anything specific back there for Halloween Horror Nights. Here's what I was talking about with the Candi Mutants scare zone. You can see things like Major Sweets Candy Company here, the Bicentennial Hometown Fall Halloween Festival Parade, a proud sponsor of Major Sweets Candy Company. Some of this was here the other day when we were here, but what's actually recently just shown up is the Major Sweets Candy Company truck. So that's kind of cool. I find it interesting. I don't know what the judge's booth is going to be for. In the past, this particular scare zone has been used as sort of like something for guest interaction. They've used it, like last year they had these sort of like futuristic people up on the stage, and then they would sort of like command you to do things from the stage. Almost like through mind control, they would try to get you to do things. So this judge's booth might be something similar, where they're up there, maybe they're having you do things, or they're having you say things or act a certain way, and then they're judging you. I don't know, but this is probably going to be the interactive zone as it has been in previous years. We'll find out. But this is the Candi Mutants section.
Okay, so there's actually going to be 2 haunted houses right behind us. One is going to be Fiesta de Chupacabras and Dead Man's Pier.
Dead Man's Pier. 2 right here. Where this is sort of the end of Main Street, as you can see. You can see the tail end there of Rip Ride Rocket. There's a lot of stuff happening back here. The Chupacabras, Fiesta de Chupacabras is exactly what it sounds like. I'm assuming there's going to be a bunch of Chupacabras in there scaring us to death. Dead Man's Pier, Winter's Lake, also is part of what it's called, is allegedly speculated to be the cold house this year. So there may be like an indoor snow effect,
Ooh, I like
the cold, the freezing cold sort of haunted house experience that they have sometimes. So that's what's expected to be, 2 different haunted houses back there. And if you remember from last year, this is where the Revenge of the Tooth Fairy was back here, and the Halloween Horror Nights Icons haunted house that had all the different Halloween Horror Nights icons from the previous years, like Jack, of course. So those are the 2 that are being replaced back there. So we'll find out if Chupacabras and Dead Man's Pier can compete with the Halloween Horror Nights icons and Revenge of the Tooth Fairy. We'll find out. I want to head right over here, sort of to the right of the main stage here. This is the entrance to probably what's going to be one of the most popular haunted houses this year. It was definitely one of the most popular haunted houses last year. And you can see they're already putting up some of the construction. They've got sort of the gateway here. Probably going to be some lights constructed on that. It's a little bit walled off right now. And this is going to be none other than the Halloween haunted house. So based on the iconic Halloween movie series, that's obviously an IP. This is not an original haunted house as far as properties go. It is going to be based on Halloween. Last year, this is where the Texas Chainsaw Massacre haunted house was. And I will tell you, that was by far the longest wait time that we waited for any of the haunted houses the entire Halloween Horror Nights last year. It was absolutely insane. It is in basically a soundstage or warehouse, whatever you want to call it back there. And the line is ridiculously long. It doesn't seem like it when you come out here, but when you go back there, it is insanely long. So I'm really excited to see the Michael Myers Halloween haunted house back there replacing Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We'll see if it holds up. Right over behind me here near the entrance of Rip Ride Rocket, you can see it going by right there. This is going to be where the haunted house that we know the least about at this point in time. It is speculated that this is going to be the Hellgate Prison. Hellgate Prison was a revival. It was something that was actually here in a previous Halloween Horror Nights. They may be reviving it. They may be dropping Hellgate and just calling it prison. We don't know. But that's the speculation as to what's going to be there. This is actually going to be replacing where the Bride of Frankenstein was last year. If you remember the Universal Monsters Bride of Frankenstein, or Frankenstein's Bride Lives haunted house that was here, this is what's going to be replacing it. This was actually supposed to be the Evil Dead haunted house. They had Evil Dead locked up as an IP that they were going to be building a haunted house for. Unfortunately, that sort of fell through, or they put it on hold because the Evil Dead movies have been supposedly testing really well with test audiences. So instead of it being a direct-to-streaming movie, they're actually thinking about pushing the release back and making it actual theatrical release. And so because of that, we speculate they've actually dropped the Evil Dead for this year. Maybe it'll be in there next year. And they brought about an original property, which is the prison. So we'll find out more about it, hopefully get confirmation soon. But right now, that's what we know. All right, we are in the home stretch, headed back towards the entrance of Universal Studios. And this is what I was talking about, the main scare zone here that's going to be on your way in and your way out, depending on where you go. And this is supposed to be the traditional Halloween scare zone. So anything that would be considered like traditional Halloween, like jack-o'-lanterns, scarecrows, different things like that, your more traditional, not based on any specific IP, will be in this space right here as you walk in. Probably will be the least scary of the scare zones. I don't know, we'll find out. But as you can see, it's sort of coming along. There's a lot of pumpkins, a lot of lighting being built. So should be pretty cool and a nice kind of scene as you kind of walk into the park. Looking forward to seeing how it turns out.
We have reached our final haunted house, and right behind us is Witch's Brew, Spirit of the Coven.
Spirit of the Coven, not a whole lot known. Again, this is an original property. They do have the Coven Witches Scare Zone over there. It's actually kind of halfway across the park, so it's a little bit weird to me that it's so far away, when this is also potentially going to be sort of a witches coven type haunted house. They have the word Witch's Brew in there, again, which has been sort of leaked through the t-shirt, which may infer there's some sort of like special drinks or something or whatnot that this is going to be tied to. I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see and find out. Again, this is technically the last one on this trip, but it's actually the closest one when you first walk in. As soon as you walk in, when you hang a left here by Despicable Me, this is where the entrance for this haunted house is supposed to be. Doesn't sound to me like it's probably one of the ones you want to go to first, but we'll find out. A lot of people will probably come here first because it's right at the entrance, but it doesn't sound like maybe it's going to be the coolest. But maybe it is, and it'll shock everybody, so we'll find out. So there you have it. That's our take. Halloween Horror Nights 31 here in 2022. Coming up, September 2nd is the first date. I can't believe it's almost here. They still got a lot of work to do, but I am excited about it. 10 haunted houses, 5 scare zones, 2 shows, 6 different attractions are going to be open. It should be an awesome evening, an awesome party. I do want to do a couple of shout outs. A lot of the information that we dug up for this episode and sort of combined and mashed and analyzed and crunched the numbers came from a few different sources. And they're going to be Horror Night Nightmares on Twitter, the Halloween Horror Nights wiki page, Screamscape, and A Graves 1019 on Twitter, because that was the first place that I saw the leaked t-shirt image. So thanks again for watching. Tune in again tomorrow for another brand new episode. Until we see you again, make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment below, let us know what you thought. Until we see you then, the Noble Way.
It's the easy way.
Bye-bye, everybody.